Judy, you know there's only 4 episodes left in this season of Garden Time?
You know what that means?
No, what?
You'd be nuts to miss this episode. Welcome to Garden Time. We're at Nella Chestnut Farm in Hood River, where they're celebrating their annual chestnut roast this weekend. Later in the show, I'll be talking with Bernardo about chestnuts and about all the festivities going on.
Also on the show today, we're going to be showing you some beautiful winter blooming camellias.
But first, winter bird care.
So I'm standing with Scott at Backyard Bird Shop, and Scott, it's delightful to be here because there's some things we need to think about for our feathered friends going into the colder and winter season here. So let's start right here with food. What are we standing in front of?
We're standing in front of suet, which is very attractive to insect-eating birds like chickadees and nuthatches. Bush tits are one of my favorite insect-eating birds. So they convert the fat that's in suet quickly into energy, and that's the appeal of it.
And see, now I have to admit, I might have been aware, but I didn't know that there was only specifically insect-eating birds. I thought they would probably eat anything, but there are ones that really will just eat the insects.
Well, William, birds are opportunists, so in extreme weather they could switch back and forth. But typically they have a preference just like you and I do. And there are insect-eating birds like our common bush tit, which just almost exclusively feeds on insects and fat, of course, as a substitute for those insects.
And then if you put in, because I've had suet that only had seeds in it, so you can put that out for the seed-only birds then? That would help them as well?
Yeah, well, a cake of suet that is pure fat or fat with insects that are integrated in it is ideal because those birds that are coming to that are really insect-eating birds. Some manufacturers, to make the suet more affordable, will put seeds in there, but seeds are really a filler in suet.
And then, do you have to worry about this stuff getting wet? I mean, because I see a lot of them are covered. So is that a problem?
Yeah, no, the covering is more just to make the feeder attractive to us. But the birds are really after the fat, and the quality fat, fresh fat, which is involved in the suet.
And I have to say, you know, last year we had some out there, and let's walk over this way because we're going to talk about heaters, but I remember seeing the suet was just covered with all kinds of amazing birds. I mean, they were just all over it. It was really cool. And then you still have the fresh seed, though, stuff for other birds to fill those in.
Yeah, my favorite seed is a sunflower seed. It's the easiest seed for them to digest, and it has a really high fat content. So I feed the seed without shells on it just because it's easier for me. But birds also like just as well sunflower seed with the shell on it. They just have to take the shell off. It's a little bit cheaper to buy it this way, of course. But you are paying for the shell.
And I would think if you have a feeder that's close to a patio or an area that you walk a lot, it might be smarter to get the other ones too, so you don't have to clean them.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of birds, and they like water, and you're a big proponent of fresh water. The cleaner it is, the more the birds will be there a lot. But yet in winter, if we have a freeze, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of having any water. So tell us about these heating.
Well, we have kind of the sauna effect for a bird bath. Actually, this is just a low watt heater that keeps the water from freezing in our winter weather. So you use a plug to plug it in, and it runs all the time.
And it's not literally it's not going to be a sauna type water. It just keeps it above the freezing level.
About 38 degrees.
Nice. Okay. And you have all kinds.
Well, some people already have their bird baths, and so this way you can add a heater to it. I have one of these bird baths because it's a ground bath. It has a lot of friction. The birds really like this. They love bathing on the ground, and it also plugs in as well. So it's integrated. The heater is integrated. Yeah.
That's very clever. And then you just have to make sure that you, again, keep it clean and fill it up.
Right.
Now, we've talked about food. We've talked about making water available even in really cold and freezing weather. So let's take a walk over here, and we're going to talk about some specific birds.
Okay.
So now, Scott, we are at what I call the cathedral of hummingbird feeders. you have a lot of those because we want to specifically talk about hummingbirds. There's been a lot of changes with them, hasn't there, over the last couple of decades?
Yeah, well, for example, the Anna's hummingbird is here year-round now.
Nice.
And so we can see them feeding at our feeders all through the winter.
And to facilitate that, on those few times that we actually get that drop in temperature where their source of food might freeze, tell me about some of these. These are some clever ideas that have come up with now to keep that from happening.
Well, our local vendors realized several years ago that we do get freezing weather here occasionally in Portland. And when you do, of course, that's when the hummingbirds really are most happy to see a feeder in the backyard. So we have feeders that use a little light bulb underneath to keep them from freezing at night. And then this woman in Tacoma came out with a nifty way she calls it the Hummer Cozy. She stitched together a little pocket and you insert a hand warmer.
Oh, that's funny.
And it keeps the nectar from freezing for 8 hours. So you go to bed at night and you put one in.
Oh, that's and they can go on the bottom, they wrap around this one. That's a very clever idea.
Different type feeders. And the most important thing though about a hummingbird feeder, as with all feeders, is freshness. So you want to change the nectar regularly, every 4 to 5 days. And
there's a lot. We are lucky to have a lot of different types of birds in our area, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Oregon is one of the largest, one of the largest number of birds in the U.S.
And proof of that is what you're holding in your hand.
Well, this is a handy dandy chart that I just really like. We developed it about 10 years ago, and it just simplifies bird identification. It has about 30 birds, the most common birds we see in the Portland area, on it, and just saves going through a field guide, flipping through trying to find the bird that you're looking for.
And if you can't find it on here, then you can choose to go to the field guide and see what is in there.
Or call us.
Yeah, exactly. That is true indeed. So because of what we put in hummingbird feeders, you guys have a great recipe to making that at home, don't you, on your website?
We do. It is 4 parts water, 1 part sugar, white table sugar, but it's also on our website, and calling our stores, we'll give it to you as well.
You know, in fact, speaking of their website, it's a great website for all kinds of information on birding and that passion for so many people that have that. So you can go to gardentime.tv, we'll click you over to their website, or you can visit any of their great locations. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
They had to take the car, they had to get it open with the jaws of life, take me out on a backboard, took me to a Trauma One center. I absolutely feel like the Subaru saved my life.
Well, we trust Capital. We trust our salesperson here, Jackie.
Jackie's great. I believe that she really cares about us.
She teaches me about the Subaru.
Our way on the Parkway.
Good service to me is providing what you say you're going to do when you're going to do it.
It's knowing that we have somebody we can count on. That's what we strive for with our customers.
And I think Standard follows those lines also. Anytime we're sending clients outside of our offices, the people that we're sending them to reflect directly upon us.
I don't ever have to worry that they're not going to get the same kind of service that we want to represent to our clients.
Since 1947, we set the standard. Standard TV and appliance.
I am at a very unique place. I am at Nella Chestnut Farms with Bernardo Nella. And Bernardo, this is such a cool chestnut farm. How was the harvest this year?
It was really good.
And so what kind of chestnuts are these? These aren't horse chestnuts we see in the city, are they?
No, they're grafted trees. The variety is colossal chestnuts.
They are big chestnuts. So this is how they come. There's like a burr and the nuts are inside. So how do you harvest them? Do you climb the trees?
No, you just wait till they fall to the floor and pick them up and be careful not
They're
to...
pinchy.
Yeah.
Very pinchy, so I'm sure you don't do it barehanded.
No, gloves, and you try to use your feet as much as you can.
And so, you know, I think they're such a delicacy for so many people that they're roasted. And so you have a fire going here. So how do we roast them?
I have a wok that Larry is going to demonstrate for us how to do it. If you don't have a fire, you can roast them in the oven.
And so I noticed that there's a cut in the shell. So why is that?
That's so they don't explode.
Oh, okay. So you have to cut them before you put them on a fire or in the oven.
Yep. Any way that you cook them, whether you boil them, put them in the microwave, in the oven, you need to score them, otherwise they explode.
And about how long do we have to cook them on a flame or in the oven?
On a flame, probably, how long do you say, Larry?
2 to 3 minutes till they're about 20-30% charcoal.
Oh, okay. And so, but I bet there's a recipe on your website if we need to know.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think for even more information, you can come out to Nella Farms this weekend. So what's going on this weekend?
This weekend we have our annual chestnut roast. We have a wine
tasting?
Wine tasting.
Very nice.
And we roast chestnuts.
Nice. And it's such a beautiful place here. There's a place to sit under cover. You have your beautiful shed here to sit in. So really you're welcome for any kind of weather, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. And really you can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click over their website. And so there's pictures of the farm. And then there's also a phone to call or a way to get in touch with you?
Sure. You can go to nellachestnutfarm.com or call, it's 800-400-3658.
So if you can't come out for the festival, you can come out, you can order the chestnuts to have them delivered to your home and you can enjoy them in the comfort of your own home.
Yep, yeah, we do ship them.
Ah, excellent. Well, really a fun time this weekend, so have a great time.
Yep.
So I'm up in Woodland, Washington at Sagawa's, and it's one of our favorite nurseries and favorite people. I'm here with Brian Sagawa. So Brian, we're going to be talking about camellias, but this whole group that we're going to be talking about is very specific. It's the sasanquas. How are those a little bit different than the japonicas?
Sasanquas are going to be mostly going to be the late fall, early winter blooming.
Yeah.
You know, and so what happens, like even when in the dead of winter, when it gets really cold, they will be blooming and they just kind of stop right in the middle. But if it's getting really cold, they just kind of stop, and then when it warms up on a nice winter day, they reappear with more flowers like that.
Now,
so
these came from a place far away, but still, it is not unusual in late November, even early mid-November sometimes, to see them blooming.
Yeah, they set their flower buds kind of late summer, you know, early fall. And yeah, weather permitting, they're going to probably start opening it up. And I think they do require a little, right at the change of probably the temperatures is what kind of gives them the signal to kind of initiate flower.
Well, so many of us are familiar with this beautiful red, the Yuletide.
Yeah.
And now, though, the one right next to it is a whole new Yuletide type, isn't
That's
it?
right. This is a new one for us. It's what is known as the pink Yuletide. It's called Pinkaboo. Actually.
Well, of course it is.
Yeah, Pinkaboo. So same kind of the red, single red, yellow stamens in the middle, and this is our first year of having it, so
really?
we're kind of excited. Yeah.
So it really is a relatively new concept.
Yeah, I think
for
it's
us.
been in production for the last couple of years, but it's new for us last year, and maybe for sure this year we're going to be able to have enough there for.
And tell me about this one, because this one, I love this dark Pinkaboo.
Yeah, well, the sasanquas, they actually offer, some of the flowers can be variegated with a little pink and white or red and white. There's actually a lot of sasanqua camellias that are available, and this one just has a light little white inside each little petal with pink on the outside.
It almost looks like it's shaded with pink now.
It does.
It's really
It kind of
quite
looks,
beautiful.
yeah, speckled or however you want to
However you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's pretty, huh?
Right, yeah.
And what about this one?
More of a, you know, you can see not pendulous branches, but what I think of it as is kind of like a horizontal branching. You could probably take some more trimming, but I think what's nice about them, they can be upright, they can be a lot of shapes and sizes available.
And the color of this almost looks more like a double camellia.
That is a nice semi-double, or you know, I don't know the wording on camellia flowers, but definitely, yeah, it's a very full double in the petals in the middle, but a single petal on the outside. So.
And the last one here, this almost looks like a pendulous upright, but you tell me that it's a specific size, really. What is that?
1 foot high and about 4 foot wide.
Wow.
So it's kind of just a ground cover, I guess you could almost call it.
So this one's actually been trained up then.
It's staked up, and
Nice.
from that point on, I guess you could stake it higher to get like 4 to 6 foot tall.
Wow.
But yeah, very versatile plant. You know, you could make a real interesting weeping habit out of that. And
so really, if you only know the camellias as the japonicas, if you haven't gone into the sasanqua family, there's actually a whole lot in that group as well, isn't there?
That's right. What's nice about them is offering the color during the off season.
Yeah.
You know, there just really isn't too much in the fall and winter to offer. this is one that definitely filled a ticket there pretty good.
Well, there you go. If you've never been up to Sagawa's, I should certainly encourage you to come on up here. It's a short drive from the Portland area, and you can look at, they have a great selection of all types of camellias in right now, so you can get them in, get them planted, and get ready to see some beautiful blooms, probably in November until next spring. Brian, it's always a pleasure being here. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Is your garden in need of refreshment? Hi, I'm Sarah, and there are plenty of things in bloom at Portland Nursery. Come check out our beautiful fall color to perk up your garden. At Portland Nursery, we consider fall the second season, and the gardening opportunities are endless. Establish next year's trees, replace lettuce and greens, or get a jump on onions and garlic. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people, on 50th and Stark and 90th and Division, or at portlandnursery.com.
The holidays have arrived at Garden Gallery Ironworks. Stop by our store in Hubbard and see the season in a whole new light. We have a wide selection of new and unusual gift ideas. From stocking stuffers and hostess gifts to large decor pieces, we have thousands of items to choose from. And don't forget the outdoors. We have gifts for the gardeners too. We also have a large selection of Kelly Ray Roberts items for you to take home. Give the gift they'll thank you for from Garden Gallery Ironworks.
Well, I am at Lansu Chinese Garden today, and it's a special event. It's a floral event showcase, and I'm with Leanne. And Leanne, this was actually a brainchild of you and another gentleman.
Travis Rigby and I were having coffee one day, and we were thinking, wouldn't it be fabulous if we could have floral design in the garden during mumvember? And so we started brainstorming and came up to Glenn and said, couldn't we please do designs? And here we are, 2 years in, doing fabulous designs in the garden.
Oh, it's true. And so this is the second year. So what would we see if we came here today or tomorrow?
You know, it's going to be quite interesting. There are 25 designers that are coming in from all over the Pacific Northwest. We've got several different states as well as British Columbia coming in, and they're all exhibiting gorgeous, gorgeous arrangements, all featuring the chrysanthemum.
So why should people come out this weekend to see the flowers?
Definitely you want to come this weekend because you get to vote for the People's Choice. It's a big prize and one designer will win. So you want to stop by Saturday or Sunday before 4 o'clock because at 4:30 we're going to announce who wins the People's Choice.
And I see that you are making this beautiful creation while we're talking, so I know that you're a professional because I couldn't do this and talk at the same time.
Well, it's kind of interesting. What I'm doing is just fastening it with an armature of barked wire so I can hold it in place. And then it's just fresh water. There's no foam, there's no wire in the vase. It's just fresh water. And then secured with the barked wire and then cutting it, adding more down in the accent area. This is the type of design that's so much fun. You can go out in your garden, gather whatever flowers. Hopefully it's a chrysanthemum, but you can gather anything and then just setting it down in. You can see it's quickly beautiful. Then of course you want to forage. And Glenn, if you could hand me, we've got some Nandina there, Heavenly Bamboo. Isn't that gorgeous?
That is perfect.
And we were foraging in the garden, but don't tell anybody. You're not supposed to do that.
We won't see that, no.
But if you've got that, tucking it into the design, just makes it look fabulous and so easy. Something you can do if your flowers have already gone because of frost.
True.
Stop at your florist, grab some chrysanthemums, and then you can still go out and forage, get fresh foliages. Now in the Chinese design, oftentimes we do vignettes, and you can see how I've elevated on a tray and then set it with my favorite ceramic ball. I love this guy. And then a second vase over here that I can just go ahead and add another bloom. In fact, Glenn, do you want to set this one in there? Just kind of removing the leaves and tucking it down in.
So this isn't really a specific traditional Chinese design, but maybe in essence it is.
It is interpretive design.
Definitely.
We'll say it's the American version of Chinese design, a la Floral Design Institute.
Well, it is so beautiful here, but I want to talk to Glenn so we can hear more about what's going on this weekend.
So this weekend kicks off our mumvember show, which is going to feature not only this fabulous floral design show, Ninth Moon, but it's also going to feature about 600 potted chrysanthemums throughout the garden.
They are so beautiful.
They're so varied. I mean, we've got every color, every floral shape and size, and you just get to see the great diversity that's in this one particular flower.
You can't imagine, I mean, from the little tiny button ones to those huge, I call them football mums, but there is so many different ones in that family.
There are, and the Chinese have been growing this plant for over 2,000 years.
Wow.
So we've finally got about every kind you could imagine under the sun as a result.
And now, is there symbolism for the Chinese culture about the chrysanthemum?
Yeah, for a long time, poets and painters have used the chrysanthemum because it's a symbol of longevity. So it tends to bloom in the fall, and blooming in the fall is thought to be like the blooming of old age, when we kind of come into our own finally. So it's a very revered, very loved plant in the Chinese culture.
And what other events are happening in mumvember?
So throughout the month, in addition to all the potted mums you'll see, Leanne's group is going to be doing floral demos each weekend.
Nice.
So people can come down on a Saturday and Sunday and see some of our local floral designers and their great talents doing arrangements that people can do in their own homes.
Oh, that's great.
And people should really come down as soon as they can.
And why is it important to come in these next few weekends?
Well, the garden is actually going to be closed for the last week in November, starting on the 23rd. So it's important that people come down now to see all these great mums, to check out the floral designers. This first weekend, today and tomorrow, there's going to be the 9th Moon show. And then the following weekends, we'll still have all the potted chrysanthemums up, and people can come check out the demos.
And what's going to go on during the closing time of the garden? What's going on?
Well, we are 15 years old, and our pond liner has kind of reached the end of its lifespan. So we're going to take the time to replace that and make some additional upgrades to the pond so that it's beautiful and lasts for the next 15 years.
Well, you know, you've heard it here. You have to come down this weekend. You know, even if it's raining, the floral displays will be undercover. And if you can't make it this weekend, come before the end of the month, before the renovation begins. If you have any other questions or to even see what the update is on the garden, go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to Lan Su's website. Thanks so much and have a beautiful show.
Why let the weather dictate when you can enjoy your garden? With a greenhouse by Solar Gem, you don't have to. Grow your dream garden year-round right in your own backyard. Our long-lasting fiberglass greenhouses are made for gardening enthusiasts of all skill levels and delivered right to your home. Solar Gem greenhouses need no assembly, are virtually maintenance-free, and come with a limited lifetime warranty. Call us at 800-383-3055 or find us on the web at solargemgreenhouses.com.
Are you tired of fighting black spot on your roses? Having trouble with where to prune and when? If you want to end the confusion, call the experts at Garden Rose Consulting. Our family has been growing roses for 3 generations. No matter the size of your garden or the size of the rose garden you dream about, we can help make yours a showcase rose garden. Call us for a free on-site consultation or visit us at gardenroseconsulting.com.
If you build it right. Build it to last. Don't just build it for yourself. Build it for the next generation. Build it with Parr Lumber. And keep building the Great Northwest.
Parr Lumber is celebrating 85 years as a local, family-owned company. From our house to yours, we send a heartfelt thank you.
So I'm out here at Parr Lumber in Albany. I'm with Chad, and we're going to be talking, Chad, about things that you can come to Parr Lumber and buy that you're not going to use them for what they were intended for at all. So tell us what all these pipes are for here.
Well, we're looking at standard galvanized pipe, but today we're going to make a pot rack for a kitchen.
Wow, how do we do that?
Well, it's a lot easier than you'd think. We're just going to take some standard stock pieces. We've got a floor flange, a T, a cap, some small lengths, and a long length.
Okay.
And of course all that can be customized to your size.
Now we put this in together, so I'm gonna, while you tell me about it, I'm gonna let Judy hold that in, and I'm gonna start just replicating what you did.
Absolutely. We'll put the T right on there.
Okay. And you can really, this is the creation you came up with, but size and all of that can be different for what your needs are.
Absolutely, depending on where you're putting it and how much things you need to hang, this can be completely customized.
And why galvanized?
Well, with galvanized, you don't have to worry about finishing it. You could always paint over this if you change your mind later, but this sort of finish gives it an industrial look, and you don't have to worry about corrosion in a humid kitchen environment.
And what about, like, I would think that you could use this, though. What are we going to use this one for? Let's start there.
This one is going to be for pots and utensils in a kitchen.
Oh, clever.
But there's a lot of other uses.
And let's tell me about some of those. What could they be?
You could use this as a curtain rod.
Oh, that would be cool.
You could make it longer, and you could use it to hang up laundry for a drying rack in a laundry room.
Wow. And you know, because I love plants, I'm thinking it could be great for hanging plants on a wall.
Absolutely.
But then if it's got stuff, I mean, these aren't like PVC light. These have some weight to them. So how do you make sure that you don't just pull them out of the wall or ceiling?
These are stout, and they can hold a lot of load, but you need to make sure whatever you attach them to will be able to hold that also.
And
the safest thing to do is find a window. That way you know where your studs are going to be, and if it's built right, there should be a header above the window.
If everything works right.
Exactly. There should be inside the wall a heavy piece of fur that you could leg screw into.
And that would make it sturdy and safe. And then I'm sure that people can come to PAR and say, you know, I saw this thing and I would like some help. You guys are more than willing to help them with it, aren't you?
Absolutely. We're more than willing to help out with this, and we're more than willing to talk about how to attach it.
Well, the wonderful thing about PAR Lumber is that it really is a very creative store, and I'm sure that these are what you would hang on it if you were going to hang heavy pots, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, I thought that was a dinner bell almost looking thing.
It's close to it. You can buy hooks in the stores for any store-bought pot rack, but these are some hooks that I made up just with some scrap.
You made these?
Absolutely.
Clever guy. So then you really could hang pots on them. You can hang utensils. So you could even do these outside for your barbecue pit too. And
Absolutely.
Hang your stuff. Oh,
this would be great for a barbecue pit. If you've got an outdoor kitchen, you could make a foot rail for an outdoor bar.
Yeah, of course you could. Well, you know, the great thing about PAR Lumber is not only can you buy everything you need to buy for your house and outdoors and indoors, you can also get some great ideas on other things you can create. So for more information, go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to the website. Thanks so much, Chad.
No problem.
Thank you for watching, and don't forget about the chestnut roast out at Nella Chestnut Farm in Hood River. For more information, go to gardentime.tv.
And if you'll be in the Gresham area today, remember that Al's Evening of Lights at the Gresham location is happening at that store from 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock.
William and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week here on Garden Time.
Garden Time is going to Ireland. Join William and Judy as they tour the Emerald Isle, visiting some outstanding private and public gardens. For more information, go to gardentime.tv and click on the airplane. The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.